Eastern group now turning cold, Angels 12. Bogey Dope Western group.
285 43 block.
Okay, I show him well south of the line, 14 miles.
Red 9 Slasher 02 copies, clear to engage. Danger close.
Clear to kill, clear to kill. He's abandoned.
We received not just light automatic.
Mindy, let's come hard left. Roger, just hit him. Deep hammer him. That's him right there.
Welcome back to the Air Combat Sim podcast. I'm Rob. I'm joined by George, Bell, Geode, and BD. And it's been a while since we've been here, but thanks everybody for coming together today. And today we're going to be talking primarily about what George has coming up. But first and foremost, George, you want to give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Jorge Anzaldo, and I'm the producer of the Sim Gaming Expo. I'm also just a longtime PC enthusiast, tech enthusiast. I love simulation gaming in all its forms, and I'm excited to be bringing this event to Chicagoland area and to North America for that matter.
And so when is it?
Yeah, so the event will take place next year. It will be September 5th through the 7th of 2025, and our location will be the Schaumburg Renaissance Convention Center. It's a beautiful facility, just about 20 minutes west from Chicago O'Hare International Airport. So, again, logistically, I think it's great for people who are traveling from outside of the country as well as inside of the United States and North America. Chicago, as you know, is centrally located, so I think it's going to be a great location for our event.
You said you like Sims, and you came from driving Sims. Now you're doubling in some other types of Sims. But how did you come up with the idea of doing a convention? I mean, it's a huge thing to do. One thing is just fly around. The other thing is just get little devs together into one place.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I have been heavily involved with the sim racing side of things. So in 2013, I joined the iRacing.com platform, and in 2014, I actually started my own championship. It was called the Lionheart Racing Series, and I ran that organization for just a little over 10 years. And it was throughout that time where we were trying to grow the league. We created a number of relationships with companies inside of the space as we were seeking sponsorships and just to see growth on that platform. And it actually presented the idea where I saw that there was a huge void in the United States where, for one, sim racing was not being represented. There is an expo in Germany that has gained a lot of traction. And as you know, we have the Flight Sim Expo here in the States, which, again, fantastic event. I was able to visit it this year in June. And so what I saw was that there were also so many other areas of simulation, if you will, somewhat fragmented. I mean, simulation, as you know, is somewhat niche despite its fairly large community. And I saw the opportunity that we could bring all of these genres together under one roof and create one big celebration. So the reason why I wanted to expand beyond just racing is because I also wanted to put my own stamp on it and add my own creativity. And then again, just provide a platform for fans and enthusiasts of other genres to have a place where they could all come together and just celebrate as one. I think as sim enthusiasts, we're all after the same thing, which is immersion, and we love tech, we love hardware. So that was the primary reason why I wanted to make things a little bit different and go outside of the box than just doing sim racing.
Who are you going to have in there? So both producers, like software producers, so producers of games or simulators, but also the hardware producers that do all the things you need to play them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the scope of the show is, it's certainly, first and foremost, we're trying to set this up as a consumer event, try before you buy. And so certainly like all the hardware manufacturers, but we also do want to create close relationships with the software producers because, again, I mean, they're the ones that are creating these platforms that we're all enjoying. So I think a combination of the two. Certainly there will be some opportunities for business to business. I mean, the show will, I think, just by default, provide a lot of opportunities for networking. But also what one of the things that I noticed is that, they're really, what from my research, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any live competitions for combat aviation sims. So that's something that I want to bring to the table at this show. We do have plans for a fairly large esports area, if you will, at approximately 6,400 square feet. So we're currently putting together plans to have somewhere around 15 rigs set up in that area, and the goal would
Oh,
be
wow.
to dual purpose that area where we could, for example, a portion of the weekend is sim racing, and then we're going to switch things off and let's feature DCS or other combat aviation sims and see some dogfighting. Like, how awesome would that be? Especially getting those people who are so in tune with that platform. I think it would be awesome. And so in that area, we have plans for like bleacher seating for approximately like 500 people. So again, I think it'd be just
Wow.
so exciting to just get people in. And again, like from my research, about half of the respondents said that they do both. They participate in sim racing or sim flight, and so I think it also provides an opportunity, as I was mentioning, like not only like bringing people together, but helping introduce them to other forms of sim. And so I think it just provides an opportunity for growth as a whole for this entire community.
So you mentioned Flight Sim Expo.
Yeah,
I was at the Flight Sim Expo. I've actually been a long time attendee since the very beginning for Flight Sim Expo. So we probably actually met out in
yeah,
Vegas earlier this year.
it's
Um, with that having been said, of course, now you see how Flight Sim Expo does things and so on. And I'm sure there's a lot of lessons that you can learn. How are you pooling together your resources? Like the way they have it now versus when they started in 2018 officially as Flight Sim Expo. It's now a well-oiled machine. What are you doing
yes.
as far as taking the lessons learned from what they have done? And I guess the part two of that question would be, what do you plan on doing that's going to be significantly different to, I guess, justify people wanting to travel again? Because people like myself, the big thing in the year is Flight Sim Expo.
Yeah,
Why am I going to want to travel a second time
sure.
for another
Yeah.
convention?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, with regards to what we're doing, like off the bat, certainly attending other trade shows, speaking with organizers. Like I had the opportunity to meet and speak with Evan, and he was absolutely fantastic, sharing insights. Again, like creating relationships with people inside of the community. Again, I'm very new to the flight sim world, so creating those relationships has been huge, and I'm looking again just to learn. The biggest thing I think I should mention is that this show is community driven, and so we really want to be in touch and in focus with the people who would be attending. Some of the other things that I've done is I've actually created a relationship with they're a business partner. So the owner of a company called Source One Events is heavily involved in this project. And so what Source One Events is they are a general contractor for the trade show industry. And so what they do is they bring to the table about 30 years of experience inside the trade show industry. So with regards to just a tremendous amount of the logistics. I mean, they create bespoke booths. They're the ones that run power and print banners and signage. So all those things kind of come turnkey with this project. Another thing, I'm kind of bouncing around between the two parts, but some of the things that we would do different is I did notice that Flight Sim Expo was very heavily involved in what seemed to me as commercial flight, which is fantastic. And
Yep.
there was some hardware and peripherals for combat flight sim, but I thought that would be something where we could do things a little bit different and incorporate the military combat flight sim, whether it's creating a big event on our esports stage, or also tapping into other areas of flight combat. Like for example, I know there's a huge community that's a part of like the Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous.
Yep.
So kind of reaching out to those communities as well. And again, like in no way do we want to take away anything from Flight Sim Expo. I mean, they've really set the benchmark, and if anything, we've taken some inspiration from them. But again, as I mentioned, we do want to do things a little bit differently. So that's some of the areas where we're trying to do things a little bit. And then also too, there are companies who are making equipment for flight sim, and they're like, for example, Moza Racing, Logitech, Turtle
Mhm.
Beach. They're all kind of crossing over with one another. And so, like, my goal with this show is certainly to provide something for everyone. And so, like, if we can, like, maybe there's companies that weren't there that now would be at the Sim Gaming Expo, and so that might kind of bring you in. And then also, it's like, well, hey, there's an opportunity to see some other things, maybe some other genres of sim, even if that's not something that you were going to ultimately explore into. But also, uh, we want to have companies that create streaming equipment, companies that are producing, custom PCs, because again, as you know, you need a pretty beefy computer to run these simulations. So our show having kind of like a broader scope, I think, would provide those things to help bring people, to come to both shows. And the other thing too, like, not everyone can travel to certain areas of the country, and so I think, ultimately, I think there are some things that we're doing, and also that there is room for multiple shows of this type. And so, yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, so I didn't go to the Flight Sim Expo in Vegas, but I did go to it in Houston a year and a half ago. And I think I made the same observation that you did, in that you know, a lot of it was really focused on commercial and not as much on the military side of it. And it's not that they weren't there, it just seemed to be segmented. It just seemed to be overwhelming commercial. And it doesn't mean that's wrong, but I did think it was one of the questions I had. I was like, I wonder if they even put the military pieces in a separate area. That might actually be a good way to segment it, where, because I would, as opposed to meandering through the commercial stuff, which isn't necessarily my interest, um, but I would have been more interested seeing it. And then when we take a look at like sim rigs and how those get set up, I think it's a great opportunity for people to try it out. I know a number of people that um, you know got a chance to do it and get custom sim rigs, and they were able to get exactly what they wanted and bought it at the show.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things too with exhibitors. We want to, have them come in and provide show specials for people coming in. And that's the other thing too. Like, I've noticed a very big influx in equipment that's being manufactured, that's gearing towards entry level. And so that's the one thing. Like, I think that we have an opportunity to attract, not only because we're going to get the hardcore sim enthusiasts. I mean, I think that's our core audience. But I think the show's broader scope will also bring in the general gaming public. And so, again, like, that's kind of one of our aspects that we really want to do is we want to help introduce this stuff to new people. And I think that there's so much equipment out there that it really provides just a great stepping stone. People start off with maybe like a $400-$500 setup, and then, show them everything, like, show them from the beginner through like the intermediate, and then like what you can achieve on the high level. um,
Yep.
yeah.
This certainly has been a year of force feedback in a lot of ways, to your
Yeah.
point on Moza. So I think it's one of the great opportunities. And recently I picked one up, um, the VP Force Rhino, and I'm like, holy smokes! Now my kids, I can't get them off it. So I think it's really, really, it's great. And so I think that's, if you want to experience something like that, being able to go to a conference like that is huge, without looking at a $500 investment for just the base for the stick.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that as well. One of my personal things, like the sole focus of my flight sim experience, is this
Yeah.
virtual reality. Everything I do is in virtual reality, and it was a pleasant surprise seeing at Flight Sim Expo how many more virtual reality headsets there were as opposed to previous years. So I'm hoping that that is something that you can also incorporate into this convention that you're proposing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. VR is certainly going to be an aspect of this, and we have reached out to, a number of different companies. We're certainly trying to get them on board. I think it's a great thing that you mentioned VR, and I would say that that's the one thing that kind of ties simulation together across all its genres. I think
Definitely. Yeah.
once people experience that and and they're able to see like how that really just like transforms them and puts them directly in the cockpit. Um, I mean, it's phenomenal. So, yeah, I think VR certainly. I mean, it's on our radar. Our logo, as a matter of fact, like has someone who's wearing a VR headset. So, it's
Right.
certainly it's a goal of our show. Yeah.
So that'll take place over the weekend, and the entry will be free, like, or that how does it look? So anyone that can just get in, or
So we do have a fee that we're charging. Yeah. So a single day is 35, a 2 day is 60, and a 3 day is $85. And again, like I mean, it's just kind of a necessary animal, if you will. I mean, there are significant production costs. The rental of the show floor
sure.
was quite significant. I'll tell you that. And so like to put it in perspective, we've rented 65,000 square feet of space. And so it's not just for the 3 days, but it's also the move in and move out days. So it's basically a total of like 5 days. And it's like when you see it, I mean, it's a significant amount of space. I
How,
mean, it's yeah.
how does that? How do you know that you need that much space? I just because I have no idea. How do you go? Hey man, we need 65,000
Yeah, you
square
know what?
feet.
It's a great question. Initially, my goal was to I mean, yeah, I mean, I would still say we're somewhat starting off small, but we were going to go for 33,000 square feet. And I saw the opportunity when, I just looked at the number of potential companies that could be involved. And so, again, kind of going back to making sure that we're able to provide like enough for each genre, I thought,
Hmm.
well, let's let's just go big. Let's swing for the fences out of the gate. And so I talked with my partner, and we decided to go for the 65,000 square feet. Our projections, um, we're looking at somewhere around 100 to if we're if we're able 125 vendors. Our goal, our target number for our audience is we think realistically once the marketing plan kicks into effect and we start to really pull in these companies, maybe 5,000 attendees over the course of the 3 days. I think is a realistic number, if we're able to secure the number of exhibitors that we want. And so I also decided to branch out because I know that there are some companies that would potentially want something larger than just a 10 by 10 or a 20 by 20. So yeah, so we decided to take that chance, and also too it'll give people a chance to spread out. We also have plans for a large media area, very similar to like what the Flight Sim Expo did. I mean, they had a great stage presence there, and just providing opportunities for companies to come in and do keynote addresses or like live workshops, panel discussions, and so again, like that's something that we really want to see incorporated. And ultimately, we're like, well, we need to go bigger. So yeah, so we wound up expanding to 65,000 square feet.
I have a very important question now.
Yes.
So are free drinks included in the $80?
That's a good question. So we are working on something where we're trying to put together a networking social on Thursday night, which would take place, before the show opens. I really liked what they did at FSE this year, where you got at least like one drink. So we're currently in the works for that. So as of now, it's no, but I'll tell you that we are, we're trying to put together something. When we get like our first, say, 30 or 40 exhibitors on board, then I'll tell you, okay, we've opened up the budget. We certainly can do that. But yeah, it's something that we're exploring for sure. We again, like, I recognize like how many relationships are formed through not only gaming but online gaming, and they are real. They're
Yep.
real relationships, and that certainly is one of the main goals of this show is to bring people together under that shared common interest, which again is simulation. So we are definitely looking to create some social gatherings.
I think, I mean, Rob probably will confirm what I'm saying, that judging by the tailhook experience, which is a bit different thing, but like there's lots of exhibitors and they do whatever they can to bring people to their like
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah,
venues. So they will offer lots of free drinks, goodies,
yeah.
and whatever they can get. And I think that will be the same probably.
Probably defray the costs too if the exhibitors are handling that part.
Yeah, they certainly
Yeah.
can. So that is a thing that they can do. Like exhibitors can get like a temporary liquor license, and they can uh, provide like free samples. So I'm
How
certain
is
that
Illinois with that,
yeah.
with liquor licenses? I know
So
Pennsylvania is a little sketchy when it comes to that.
yeah, it's not a problem. So basically, an exhibitor would have to apply for, if it's like for 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days, they would have to
Mm.
apply in person to the village of Schaumburg. So basically, Schaumburg is a suburb just outside of the city of Chicago, and they allow temporary liquor licenses at their events.
Mm.
So that is something that could be done, and certainly, again, if it comes down to it, it's something that the event can also do. So
Well,
yeah.
and I'm just going to say this. I don't think when it comes to alcohol, I don't know anybody that can consume as much as BD. Just and stand up.
Yeah.
I've never
And
seen
stand
anything
up, the
like that.
important part.
He's not human. It's not human.
It's just a
It's
matter of
amazing.
training,
Yeah.
like with everything.
That's impressive.
We've got some great craft beer breweries here in Chicago, so definitely, yeah, Chicago's got so many great things going for it. Yeah, the restaurants, the nightlife. So again, I think our location is going to be great because people can turn it into a vacation. Like they can come and see and experience the expo, and then there's plenty of nightlife. The convention center itself is actually situated inside of an awesome entertainment district. There's like Top Golf, and there's just restaurants, and there's so many different things that are happening in that area, as well as you have downtown Chicago, Navy Pier, and all these things. So yeah, it's a great city.
Now, I'm not sure if I missed it, but when did you say was the time frame that you're looking at putting the convention itself on
Yeah.
during the year?
Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be September 5th through the 7th of next year, 2025. Yeah. The 4th and 8th are move in, move out dates for exhibitors, but in terms of like attendees, 5th through the 7th. So we're looking to secure probably a good quarter or more of our exhibitors, and then we'll likely create a marketing campaign around the tickets going on sale. So everything is set up. That's the one thing that we're really excited about. I mean, being first time out of the gate, there was a lot of work on the back end. So one of them was just the registration portals, getting everything ready, like the merchant account to be able to like process payments and handle ticketing and all this. It was extensive. Like the one thing that I've learned about the trade show business is that it is a very elusive world. There is no textbook out there that just tells you, okay, here's what you have to do step by step. You really have to you have to beat down those doors, and you have to do the research. And so like it took us a long time to get to this point. And so now, like, again, like we're really working hard on getting booth registrations. And then, like I said, once we have a pretty good number, then I think we'll create some really cool marketing campaigns, like working closely with content creators from the various communities, as well as the companies doing like ticket giveaways and live streams. And so we've got some really cool things up our sleeve. But yeah, 5th through the 7th next year is our dates.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's my wife's weekend for her birthday, and I can't imagine what she would like more than go to a Flight Sim Expo. I'm just no.
Well, yeah,
Joking,
yeah,
but
it's
no, honey, it will not be.
it's
But
it's funny that you mentioned that. I mean, like that's one of the things that like I noticed. Like we flew out to Germany to visit the Sim Racing Expo, and we've been to Flight Sim Expo, and my wife attended with me to Germany, and that's kind of one of the things that she's noticing. They're like, where's the stuff for for the girls? Like, so I'm like, all right,
uh-huh.
let's see how we can make the experience just awesome for everybody. So but yeah, there's plenty of things to do, like I said, like the nightlife and the restaurants, and just there's so much going on.
Well,
So yeah.
one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and maybe this would be a good opportunity for some exhibitors, is that I was at Flight Sim Expo. It seemed like a great opportunity for the exhibitors to present new products or new feature releases.
Hmm.
And I think, even if you were to sit there and talk about, campaigns for BD or
Yeah.
something like that, it's a great platform to go ahead and promote those things and get the word out.
I've been invited and I'm planning to come. I just have to
Yeah.
confirm,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And there'll be drinks, so
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and that's where we plan to incorporate our media stage and really use that to provide a platform for not just like like your high end tier companies, but again like software producers, companies who
Yeah.
are you know I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe just up and
Yeah.
coming, like upstart, newer companies, like give them that space too. And so again, like we're working on that programming now, but we have approximately like 21 hours of programming that we can fit into that area. And so our goal also too is to have that space live streamed so that people who can't come, like they have the ability to see
That's
that.
great.
Yeah, we're really like trying to pull out all the stops and just really
It sounds
yeah
fan-
yeah
sounds great. No, I mean, and I remember like one of the things that at the Houston Flight Sim Expo, I ran into a guy who was making his own heads-up displays,
nice.
right? And so if you're not quite into the VR side of it, but want a heads-up display, because you can encounter I mean, there's so much great hardware that's out there today. It's amazing.
It's
But
yeah, it's
yeah,
it's awesome that you said that, because one of the things that we recognize is that there is a big segment of DIYers out there. And I absolutely love that. And so going back to the technology side of things with regards to our scope of the show, like we've already spoken with a handful of companies who create 3D printers. Creality is one of them. We're looking to bring them in
Mm,
and have them partner with the show, because again, like we recognize that there is a pretty big segment of DIYers out there. And so again, like I think that's like one area where like having companies who create 3D printers would be kind of cool for that audience that wants to make their own stuff. But certainly like giving them a space to talk, and whether it's just an interview, however they want to be a part of this thing. Like again, as I mentioned, like we really want this to be community driven, and so as we continue to create those relationships with people inside the space, like we just love to welcome them and see how they they want to fit in. Like I said, we have the space and we're looking to get it filled. So yeah.
Has there been a lot of response so far?
Yeah, so we've contacted. Wow, I mean, I've sent emails out to hundreds of companies, and it's a little bit of a struggle, because a lot of times you're getting like web forms or like the emails info ad, and so I've used LinkedIn as a tool to get close connections with companies inside the marketing. We've heard back and had some really strong conversations with probably a good 15 to 20, and some positive responses from probably a total of about 70 companies. And I mean, admittedly, like here's the thing, like there seems to be a great deal of interest from the companies that we've spoken with, but everyone is like, well, their first question is, well, who else do you got? Who else do you got? And so
right.
everyone is like sitting on this big fence, and I'm like, guys, jump on in. Come on, join the team. Let's get
Well,
jump in for the big win.
now that you have Baltic
Yeah,
Dragon,
yeah,
now that you have
they'll come.
BD, I think
yeah,
that's gonna.
yeah. Uh,
Just have BD
eh,
whisper into Wags' ear. You
yes,
get Eagle
yes,
Dynamics on board, and then the whole thing will all come together.
yes. And that's honestly that's really how we feel about it. That once we get probably like our first 4 or 5 solid companies, people are the trust is going to build up, and like I understand it, like it's an inaugural event. Like some of the other questions is,
Sure.
how many visitors did you have last year, and then you show us the data, and it's like, well, that data will happen for 2026, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you, but this is our inaugural event. But I do feel that those dominoes and those companies will they'll fall, and the companies will start to jump in, and it's just a matter of time. We have some contracts that are pending, and admittedly, like here's the other thing, as I mentioned, there was so much work on the back end, just like I said, getting us up and running to the point where it's like, okay, we're ready. Companies were like, hey, this sounds great, but like, where's your sponsorship deck, and is your registration portal open? And it was like, well, we're still working on those things. We're in pre-sales, and this was months ago, of course. And so now again, like, we're ready, and we're contacting them back, and these things take time. But yeah, we're at a point now where we can start to sign on exhibitors, and we're really excited. But yeah, it's not easy. I'll tell you that. It's been a struggle.
Now, I mean, obviously, doing what we're doing right now is definitely going to help as far as
Oh yeah.
publicity. But has there been any other like press packets or marketing things that you've sent out?
Yeah, so I do have the press release, and we're looking to get that out right now. What I've been doing is focusing as well on creating relationships with content creators. We've got a number from inside the sim racing space, because again, that's kind of the world that I came from. But I'm hoping to be introduced to more people inside the flight sim community. And so once we do that, we'll continue to expand. I mean, our website is up, and our social channels just got live. We have a marketing team. I'm working with a marketing professional that I had worked previously through. He was actually at HyperX, and so we were working with them when I was still running my sim racing organization. So we do have a professional working with us, and we have our plan. And it looks like we're really going to ramp things up in January with regards to our social channels. And so we're looking to continue just to kind of get the word out there. But yeah, we have our prospectus and sponsorship deck and our press releases there, and we're in the process right now of continuing to kind of like push that word out.
I kind of like how we're the air combat sim, but we always focus on DCS, and like this conversation opens us up on like so many different things that we've never actually spoken about in the like. There's no probably combat racing sim or whatever, but you know what I mean.
Mad Max the Sim.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But coming back to DCS, I mean, have you contacted any of the? I mean, have you contacted ED or the Heat Blur or some other guys that are big in the like third-party devs for DCS?
Yeah, I've reached out, and just still waiting to hear back. But yeah, and I've tried to. It doesn't seem like I don't have the contact for Eagle Dynamics, but I certainly would love to talk to them, because I mean, I'd love to have them play a major role.
I'll put you in touch with the guy who's basically in charge of that kind of thing. So, and he's also Polish, so it makes it easier.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I'll put you in touch with him.
Yeah. My wife's Polish, so she
Yeah,
speaks
exactly,
Polish
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I'll
But
put it to you this way: if you can get WAGs to come out to this thing,
Yeah.
you will have
Yeah.
really accomplished something.
Yeah.
Because I've
I-
only
Sure,
met
yeah.
once with WAGs
Yeah.
in real life
Wow.
at one of these
Mhm.
Yeah.
conventions.
Yeah, I've heard of the name. I've seen some of his videos. I know he obviously
He's
works
the
very
man.
closely. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And that's the thing too. Again, like as we start to sell tickets and more booths, like that opens up the budget and allows us to do like so many cool things. So like a guy like that, absolutely, we're gonna pay for your airfare and we'll put you up in the hotel. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like we've got to get to that point where, where we can start to sell some booths. I mean, we do. I mean, we obviously we had to invest money in, and like that's the thing. Like I've bootstrapped this thing. Like I pulled money out of retirement and savings, and my business partner at Source One, like he's financially supported this thing. And we're doing it. I'll be honest, at great risk, because of how strongly we believe in this project and how passionate I am about simulation. Like I just couldn't imagine. And everyone was like, "Why hasn't this been done before? Why has?" And I see that now why it hasn't, because there is risk and it does take a tremendous amount of work. But it was like, you know what? Someone's going to do it. Then let me do it. I'll take that. I'll take that leap. And so now it's just a matter of like, take that leap with me. Like we can really do something together collectively that's just amazing. And like going back to like FSE, I've talked with Evan and like myself, like I have these dreams. Like let me build up my show for like 3 or 4 years, and let's partner with FSE. Like let's make the world's largest sim gaming conference ever. You know what I mean? Like because he has the flight sim communities. He's got his finger on the pulse of that community. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of the sim racing community. And then like again, like let's just build this thing up and like see what we can do. Like, could you imagine that? Like just everything in one place, like just this amazing thing. So so yeah, like I mean, I have my dream and vision. Right now, we're focusing on getting this thing off the ground, and once it does, um, I think we can do some great things. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, like we have to sell tickets, and there is a cost for booths, but that's a kind of a necessary thing so that we can continue to scale. I want to I we need the budget so that I can do more. Like I can do more cool things, and it's more that I can give back to the community. So that's kind of really my standpoint on things.
So tell me about George.
Yeah,
So George, besides the fact that you are a paramedic,
yeah, that's correct.
on the day job,
Yeah.
but on your, what do you, you were talking about racing sims. What do you do when you're flying? You sort of moved over in that area. What do you normally do?
Yeah, so I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in IL-2 over the years, and so I've played some of that. Seeing like the stuff from DCS, I'm just so impressed, and I really want to build a new rig, But yeah, admittedly, like I'm still like so new to it. Some of the other side of like mill flying is I used to be really involved with Arma, and I know that that's not like full on sim, but it was kind of like that little bit of taste of it. But yeah, it's something that I'm looking to kind of jump more into now. I'll say that it's been quite difficult with all the planning with the expo going on to find
I
time to
bet.
really do much of any gaming, and so it's like it's been a little tough, but my heart is definitely there. I think once we kind of get this engine started, and we're up, and we've taken off, and we're up in the air, and it's like, okay, we've got 50 exhibitors on board and tickets are doing well, then I can kind of ease off the pedal a little bit and maybe get back to some of that. But my priority is obviously making sure that this event takes off, and that it's just that we put our
Yeah,
best effort forth. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and I'll just say this is that I think that I don't know how many years I've been doing this, but I always still consider myself to be a beginner. I always sit there and go,
Always, yeah.
it's always something new and some other gear that I've spent money on that I get in trouble for. But I think I think it's great. And I think what I really like is that, this is a great opportunity because I think certainly the DCS community, I mean, as friendly as they are, sarcasm, um, it's a great opportunity to, get out there and meet people and meet the customers,
Yeah.
those passionate pilots.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. The one thing, and I think where this translates well across both sim racing and flight sim is like, or the like DCS, is that we are competing against one another. It can be fierce competition, but at the end of the day, there is this. I believe that there's this shared camaraderie in those experiences, and that there needs to be something where people can come together and just talk and have fun, and kind of like take yourself out of the cockpit and actually see the people that either you're competing against, or yeah, just participating with. And I love,
Well,
yeah,
I know I was going to say one of the things from the Flight Sim Expo was very. I met some of the folks that I met there. I went back to Houston for an air show a few months ago with Aubie from that I met there. That was great guy. But you meet people at the expo and you develop these
yeah.
friendships and you keep they keep going. So what a great opportunity to meet people of similar interests, right?
I agree, and like that's the thing that I've come to find is that these friendships form, and they're real, and they're lasting friendships. I mean, it's just amazing, like how this platform can bring people together, and I've seen that over all these years. I've been involved with gaming for a long time, and as I mentioned, just kind of hosting like those championships and running my league. I mean, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, yes, there's a form of online gaming that where it's not always nice, again, because you're in spirited competition. But again, I think as a whole, it's just a great community, and bringing people together is certainly something that's a goal of our show.
And the fact of the matter is, once you actually get people away from their keyboards, away from their
Oh
PC,
yeah.
and out in person, it's a completely different experience. Everybody is just sweet as pie. You know, it buying each other drinks. It's just crazy. Get
Yeah.
back home, get to the keyboard, and yeah, everybody's MFing this and
Uh,
all of the
yeah.
usual stuff that goes on
Right
online.
on.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's two different types of people, and I think we need more experiences where we get people in person together. Because I'll
Oh,
tell you,
Yep.
absolutely.
every time that I've gone to Flight Sim Expo, and I say this primarily as a media partner for Flight Sim Expo, that's the one thing that I try to impress upon people. Once you actually get there, it is nothing like what you experience online, just
Yeah.
doing the sim or anything. You actually see that there's real people with real
Yeah.
feelings, and you end up developing those friendships. We need more of that. We need
Yeah.
more of that community coming together and getting that perspective of realizing there's real human beings behind this, and actually developing the friendship so that we avoid a lot of the
Yeah.
toxicity that we see online.
Absolutely. Well,
So I'm
well
hoping you're going
said.
to bring that to the table.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. And whether that's through just having the event where people are coming together and celebrating, or like other things like we mentioned before about creating some type of social, like maybe on Saturday night, like on Thursday night, like that's, for like the businesses and things like that. And then Saturday night, like that's for the attendees, like that's their time to come together. And so that's what's really cool that I didn't get a chance to mention about our venue. So the Schaumburg Renaissance Convention Center is actually, it is attached. It's owned by the village of Schaumburg, but it's run by Marriott International. So there is a 500 room hotel attached to the convention
Hmm.
center, and they have a number of like banquet rooms and other halls and things of that nature where we very easily could put something together and just like I said, like have like a even like a dinner social or whatever, just so that all the guys and girls and everyone who's attending, like if they want to, like they could come have a few drinks, have something to eat, and just celebrate together. Yeah.
I assume there will be decent rates for hotel or perhaps package deals for
Yes.
attendees. Okay.
Yes. So right now we do have a room block. And the rates are 159 a night. Now that being said, we have like 300 nights right now as our first room block, because like going back to like the financial obligations. So like if the whatever rooms don't get reserved, they come after me as the promoter. Like so we decided to do for now. It's 100 rooms Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if we sell out quickly once the tickets go on sale, then we can get another additional room block and just continue that. So, and there are a number of hotels in the area that we could also do that as well, get room blocks. But we do have a room block for now, and it's 159 a night.
Do you have any sessions that you've outlined so far in terms of content, or uh, what are some of the things that you people can think of? And again, you may not have got it all scheduled out yet, but I don't know if you have any preliminary um, agendas.
Yeah, so we do have some ideas. We also, besides our media stage that we have set up and the show floor, we do have a number of conference rooms that are just part of our package. So our goal is to do, like, for example, like we can stick towards like the flight sim community. So like an introduction to flight, that could be something.
Mm.
Having a host of content creators talk about like where we're currently at, like again, like sticking towards the combat side, like where's combat flight sim right now. One of the big things that I want to do is I really want to celebrate simulation from like its inception, if you will, to like the current state and like the future. So I think that would be like an awesome like topic of discussion. And like just that topic alone, like you could plug in a number of different people. Like I've reached out to some people at Micropros. I would love to have
Hmm.
Micropros or any of like the developers from in the past or even like now, like be a part of this, because I mean, like Micropros, they're like the godfathers of
Hmm.
simulation. You know what I mean? So yeah, so things like that. Certainly, you know, kind of like your staple companies doing like product demos and things of
Yeah.
that. Also, yeah, just we talked about the DIY component, so maybe we can have something along the lines of that. But yeah, we're currently we're still kind of putting that programming together. It is a little bit early, and that's kind of the beauty of it is
It,
that we do have
Mhm.
another 8 months, and that's also where as I can hopefully create some more relationships with people inside of the flight sim community, I would love to get that feedback from them. Let them like tell us like what do you want to see, and we'll make it happen. You know, and that's where I think again like as a community like we can do some really great things, and that's the focus of the show. Like it's for fans by fans. Like I really want when people when they come in and they see like the companies that are there or just like the programming that they just look around and be like, oh my gosh, like they get this. Whoever did this, like they understand me. Like they like what I like, you know, this so I really want that's what I want. Like ultimately like I'm kind of building this thing like what would I want to see as a fan? Like what's all the cool
yeah.
gear? Like I was completely like geeking out over all the stuff that I saw at Flight Sim Expo, like just the stuff from Verpal and Wing, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, I have to get into this, you know, and
Yep.
and I'm like, why? And again, like I've mostly done like sim racing, but I see that stuff, and I'm like, yes, 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 give me, you know, because ultimately it's like whatever whatever cockpit you jump into, you know, as a sim enthusiast, like you want to like dive in, you want to learn what everything does, and it's not just about okay, I know what the controls do, like mastering those controls and just feeling so immersed in that realism, like it's just a beautiful thing, and so like that is like the excitement that I have for simulation, and I know like what you have, like I want other people to catch that feeling, and I want them
Get the
to come.
bug.
Yeah, yeah. So
As
so
long
that
as
was
you
the
have
thing.
a
Yeah, yeah,
headliner, as
yeah,
long as you have it, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm coming at
yeah,
this from the standpoint of somebody who spent many, many years in the music
yeah,
industry as a musician. Got to have a headliner. Got to have a reason why people are going to want to spend their hard-earned money to fly
yeah,
out to Chicago. Although, to be honest with you, any excuse to fly out to Chicago. I haven't been to Chicago since little after the turn of the century. I'm long overdue for a trip, but I'm just saying
nice.
others might
Yeah,
need, a reason, a draw, a
yeah,
headliner, if you will, to
yeah.
actually pull this thing together. So as long as you have that focused, I think the rest of it will all come together, and of course the promotion might write itself.
Oh no, no, I was going to say, I mean, just as a, just a couple ideas. One is like hardware 101, right?
Yeah,
What do you need for a sim rig? Another session could be, DCS 101, mission editing and creation
yeah,
by
yeah.
Baltic Dragon.
Yes.
No, but I mean, but seriously though, I'll tell you, Sedlow does some really great stuff in terms of the videos he's been creating lately of mission editing, the things that come up that you can come up with, or some of the new enhancements, whether it's fog and things like that. So if you're into DCS, and again, not to focus solely on that, but what are some of the things that you could do to create missions? So, and how do you do that? So those are things that
Yeah,
you might think about in terms of diving deep into some of tracks of DCS mission creating, and that way someone goes, well man, I'm going to see Baltic Dragon, and I'm going to see Sedlow.
Mhm.
So yeah, that'd be a great track for me if they wanted to get into it, into mission creation.
And as somebody
It's an idea.
who moderates a lot of flight sim related Facebook groups and including DCS as part of that, you would be surprised just how often that subject comes up. It's a lot.
that yeah, that's awesome, and we we have the space as I mentioned. We have a number four for that matter conference rooms that we have available to us. Like for example, like maybe I mean we certainly could put it up on the media stage, but that could also be something that's a little bit more up close and intimate, where it's more like kind of on the granular level, and it's not like that seminar or whatever, that workshop would be rushed for time. It's like, okay, we'll set aside some time for like the people who are really into this, or even like you said, if it's 101. But yeah, we would. definitely be able to provide that space for something like that. I think that would be really exciting.
Yeah, and not to volunteer BD for that, but
No, of course not.
I actually would be
You get
more
reflected.
interested in
Reflected will do
seeing
it.
how many. Yeah, reflected would be great, but I would be more interested in seeing BD do it, BD mission creation with 10 drinks and see how that goes.
That's how I do it. That's normal.
Yeah, that's how he does it. There's nothing new there.
Listen, my money's on BD. He'll pull it off. He'll always pull it off.
It's the best mission ever. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. But we certainly, yeah, we're gonna put together some great content, and I think that with assistance from the community and letting us know those things that are most important to them, yeah, we're ready to listen, and we'll do everything that we can to put it together for them. Yeah,
Now's the time to reach out,
Perfect.
then.
yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, from us, I will do what we can to put you in touch with people we know, and if we can, to help spread the news and
Yeah.
get people on board, because it sounds very, very interesting. I'm definitely planning to be there. And
I appreciate it.
You don't have any excuse now. You also have to come to Chicago. We have a drink together then.
Absolutely.
I think if we're able to set up a few cockpits and maybe with depending on the companies or even if it's something if the budget's there and we purchase the equipment and set that aside, how cool would that be to have some missions from Baltic Dragon like featured on the esports stage,
Yep.
and we get some great virtual aviators that are really that they can fly those planes and just put them on there and just let them have at it. And like again, like that's something that we could stream. So we're hoping again, like in a year's time, our social channels and our streaming channels will start to gain some followers. And so I think that as that gains traction, and that just would provide some great value to those who are present and then watching virtually.
I think also it would be really cool. I'll tell you, the whole thing of being able to walk around the expo and checking out the hardware. If you gave a tour of it, like for example, being able to go up and actually try out the Thrustmaster Avro base might be really cool. Or showing somebody doing that. So maybe some kind of live stream on something like that. So
Yeah.
and again, just some ideas.
Yeah. We have plans to have like a camera crew, if you will, and we're looking to work with either certain content creators or finding like just someone like a really great host that could be bouncing around to the various booths and conducting interviews and things like that. So that is something that we do want to incorporate into the live streaming aspect of the show.
Yeah, and Max at Wing Wing.
Yeah, I'll talk to
Yeah.
Max. I mean, yeah, he should be there definitely.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think so.
We'd love to have him, of course. And yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I really want Flight to be represented at this show. And so like that's the thing, right? So I want it to be in a strong enough number where it's, somebody who's coming specifically for Flight, like they're not coming and it's like, okay, they've got, 5 or so, you know what I mean? Like where it's a small number
Mhm.
and then it's like, there's an overwhelming number of a different genre or whatever. And it's like, I'd love to see it balanced. Like that's the thing. And that kind of goes back to why I decided to go with the 65,000 square feet of space, to be able to provide room so that we can really balance things out. And so, yes, I really would love to see Flight represented. I mean, those are, in terms of like our pillars for this show, it's definitely, I would say, like driving sims and Flight. They're like holding up the house. So like if we're if we're not having Flight represented well enough, I think that hurts the show. So definitely.
What
Yeah.
about the goat simulator?
Hey, there,
Isn't that
yeah,
Microsoft.
yeah. I mean,
And that's the third pillar, right?
yeah,
The goat.
yeah.
And then
We'll say,
submarines in space.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we want to see Farming Simulator and we want to see the sci-fi. Like, for example, I've been a long-time fan of the BattleTech or MechWarrior universe.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, for example, like I saw the Virpil controls and I was talking to the guys. I'm like, this stuff would be awesome for MechWarrior. And they were like, yeah, we've been trying to get a hold of Piranha Games and like no one's answering us. I'm like, they're not answering you guys?
Really?
Like this is wild. Yeah. So I'm like, cause this stuff is perfect for that. And but yeah, like the other genres, certainly, yes. I mean, they're important aspect, and we want to see them represent. I mean, Farming Sim, the most recent version, they sold over 1 million copies like in the first week. I mean, so it's like there's definitely a fan base there, and
There's a
so
market. Yep.
yeah, we would love to see just everything, just and the cool thing too. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Fishing sim, just thing like that.
Yeah, it's like it's like how they say, oh, there's an app for that. It's like there's a sim for that. It seems. But
We
yeah,
know
what I
about
was
Lake
yeah
Michigan just down the
yeah
street there,
yeah
right?
yeah we do. Um, Yeah, and the really great thing about our venue as well is that it has room to expand. So we're actually only renting 2/3 of the convention show floor. There's a whole other like 33,000 square feet of space that ultimately we can, if things go well, we can expand into that space. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The other thing I thought I would mention too is one of our initiatives, and that kind of goes back to what you were mentioning, Rob, with regards to content. I really want to get the colleges involved. As you know, STEM or STEAM subjects, like they're, in my opinion, they're, I don't know if that's the right word, desperately, but they're really strongly trying to incorporate STEM into their esports programs. And so one of the initiatives of the show is to show these collegiate programs that, with regards to STEM, aviation, and motorsports, like you don't get much better than that when you're coming to in engineering and mathematics and science. Like it has it all. And then again, like with flight, there is a real world, like from virtual through education and into real world jobs and applications. Yeah. So like if we can bring those people who are responsible for making those decisions and bring them together with the hardware manufacturers and just that industry, if we can bring more flight into the colleges, then that's one of the initiatives, one of the goals of the show that I thought I would mention. We do want to see them
Nice.
involved. Yeah.
Yeah, my 2 10-year-old boys like FC Mobile. There's nothing more important than soccer or football, as we know. But uh, again, a lot of opportunities there. I think it's great. So, if someone wants to reach out as we wrap up here, is there anything we missed? And then the other one is how can people find out more information about it, or if they have ideas, can they contact you to provide them on what they
Yeah,
looking for?
absolutely. So first off, you can visit our website. It's www.simgamingexpo.com, and you can find us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Sim Gaming Expo. Certainly check us out there. You can also you can reach me personally. My email is j.anzaldo@simgamingexpo.com if you have any questions, or you can go info@simgamingexpo.com. Tickets will be on sale. We're hoping the Q1 of 2025. I think we've covered quite a bit. I really appreciate the opportunity and the time to be able to speak about this. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Ultimately, I think with regards to this show, just to wrap it up, is that it is for fans by fans, and it is community driven. And I want this show to be a platform to bring all of us sim enthusiasts together, as well as to help grow the industry, from the businesses that are supporting it to the people who are part of it now and those who would be a part of it in the future. So yeah, definitely. I really appreciate your time and having me on. It really means a lot to me.
So we block that
Absolutely.
Nice.
block that
Wish you
weekend
luck.
in September for Chicago trip, everyone. Uh,
Yeah,
5th,
September 5th
right?
through the 7th. Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
I was going to
5th through
say,
the
is that
7th of
around
2020.
Labor Day time? I guess.
Yeah, just like just past it, that first
Okay.
weekend there. Um, yeah, and that was not necessarily by design. I mean, we were looking to have the show earlier this year, but I felt so strongly about having the show at the Schaumburg Renaissance. It was like tried for May, and they're like, we're booked, and then it was July, August, and so I'm like, what do you have available? They're like, this is the time in September. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it's giving us another 8 months here to plan things out. And again, like, we really want to just put our best foot forward and come out with something that just wows everybody. And so, yeah, um,
And as a final note, you said you're in one of your kids' rooms. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just a.
Yeah. I
Okay, I do appreciate the Bulls and the Ecto One. It looks like up there. So
yeah.
so
I borrowed their
okay.
landline, so normally my office doesn't have a webcam, so the webcam's on my laptop, and I'm like, this is too important to be on Wi-Fi and have it like go down, and so I'm like, I'm stealing their room for the next hour. So
All good. All good. All right, gentlemen. George, thanks again. I appreciate you coming on, and our good friend BD and Belgio, thank you.
Thank
My
you very
pleasure.
much.
thank you
Yep.
so much.
Eastern group now turning cold, Angels 12. Bogey Dope Western group.
285 and 43, Bronx.
Okay, I go well south of the line, 14 miles.
Red 9 Slasher 02 copies, clear to engage. Danger close.
Clear the kill. Clear the kill. He's abandoned.
And we received not just light automatic.
Mindy, let's come hard left. Roger, just hit. Deep ham room. That's them right there.